Total side note, I saw Lord of the Rings for the first time just last month. So, I'm late. The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, is now streaming on Amazon, and it is a television series that is a prequel to the actual events of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now, in this, we tell the story of a woman who comes to realize that there is something that has been left untouched, something that's been left undiscovered. Someone is rising up with this army of his. He wants to cause havoc. He wants to gain power, and along the way, a odyssey begins to fight for the winner of these items and to bring peace. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power is interesting because it's something that is running an uphill battle because of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Lord of the Rings trilogy is widely considered to be one of the most perfect, if not the most perfect, trilogy of all time. It's just really good. And if you've seen the films, you know what I'm talking about. If you watch this review, you probably have seen the films. And they're exceptionally wonderful. Like, these are really, really good films. And to try to make anything to follow that up is very difficult because of the fact that it has been so good that people are going to be more skeptical. They're watching it with a more critical eye. They're trying to find more flaws than they would if, for instance, I made a show that was a sequel to, I don't know, like, let's say I made a Harry Potter show. Well, yeah, people would care. But it's not necessarily going to be to the point where The Lord of the Rings is praised as they won like 10 Academy Awards or something, the third film. Like, that's insane. That's a different boat altogether. And I think that is something you need to keep in context when watching this. Because the good thing is for me is I'd seen Lord of the Rings fairly recently. I actually started it after the show came out because I wanted to understand the show, because I didn't watch it until I finished the movies. So I watched the show, and it's okay. It's fine. It doesn't really hurt anything. It adds a little bit, but even then it doesn't add much. It's just alright, It's pretty good, I'd say. There's some really decent action in here. There's some good performances, really good performances in here. Everyone acts exceedingly well. With the exception of our lead, she can be very hammy at times and unbelievable. Like, I feel like I'm watching an actress recite things. The green screens in here do no favor. It's just not very good. A lot of special effects don't look as good as they should. Aside from that, pretty good show. Script's pretty solid. I love the way they put it. Progressed very nicely, by the way. And the main thing I think I really like about this show is it's very atmospheric. I love the way it's set. There's a lot of really white gold lookingness to it. I don't know how to describe that, but like, it's really good. Like, I love that aspect of it, and I love the mystery that we have. We get to go along the way on, and how we get to see what's going to happen with these characters, and we're trying to figure out how this is going to lead into, the actual movies, which was really neat. And there's some surprises along the way, which I won't spoil, which I thought were pretty effective at times. Some of them were really well done, and I was like, hey, that's really cool that she did it that way. But aside from that, it doesn't do much to offer anything new. I think I would have liked it to do a little more. If you're going to really make a show to Lord of the Rings, I feel like it should be able to stand on its own. It needs to prove its existence. And while it does excuse it and say this is why I should, it doesn't necessarily mitigate its entire existence, because you look at it and you're like, well, this could have just been like something a lot smaller. Because the show does feel a little stretched out. It feels a little bit like they had an idea, but they had to make it last. It's kind of the way I got the feel of Kenobi, where I feel like Kenobi's a show, but it didn't necessarily need to be an entire show. That's kind of what I get the feeling with this. But it's actually surprisingly good. I think it will get unfair criticism. And I think also, on the other hand, it's going to get an unfair amount of praise as well, because people will be blinded by the fact that it's the Lord of the Rings all over again, and it's a modern show that looks great. And I think going in practically minded is the best way for you to watch the show. I recommend it. I'd say watch it. You'll probably enjoy yourself. It's very well made. It's truly epic. Like, it's really, really good. There are flaws, as I said, but they can be overlooked because they are not massive issues. They are minuscule things that just don't necessarily make the most sense. Like, a lot of the stuff in here is also pretty cliche. Like, it's stuff that it's going to happen next because we've seen it in so many television shows at this point. But it's still a pretty solid show, and I liked it, and I enjoyed my time watching it quite a bit. I'm going to give Lord of the Rings of Power, a 7 out of 10. So thank you guys always so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you all next time.